Welcome to Kansas Farm Guy. Hit that like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Campers, welcome. I have a surprise for you. This is a live interview with Jami Applegate. She is with North American Equipment Dealers Association, and she is the organizer of the Western Farm Show here in Kansas City at the American Royal. Just to give you a little preface, this is actually our second interview. We did a one-on-one interview at the American Royal mid-December, but due to technical difficulties, my microphone quit working. So we are doing it over Zoom today. So Jami, welcome. I appreciate you coming back and meeting with me again. So why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about North American Equipment Dealers Association?
Yeah, so the North American Equipment Dealers Association is a nonprofit, member-driven organization. Our members are the large farm equipment dealers that you see all over the United States. So John Deere, Case IH, Kubota, AGCO, you name it, and those are our core, our heart. We are in 43 states. That's technically our coverage that we are affiliated with. However, we do have members in all 50 states and all of the provinces of Canada. So we're a rather large national organization, as you can assume.
That's good. Now, are you headquartered here in Kansas City?
We are. We are
Okay.
just up north by the airport. So that's kind of nice and convenient when planning something as large as the Western Farm
Sure,
Show
sure,
to be in that city.
sure. That's awesome. So the American Royal, how has the farm show been at the American Royal all 64 years?
I don't know the previous location because it's been so many decades
Right,
ago since this is the 64th show that we're
right.
entering. But I do know the vast majority of those years has been at the American Royal.
Okay, very
Yeah.
good. All right. Well, so for you guys that don't know, there's a lot that goes along on behind the scenes
Yeah.
of something like the farm show. So why don't we start with the first day you plan for the next year and take us through
Yeah.
kind of what it takes to plan the show and get it organized.
Sure. So really it sounds ridiculous, but the first day of planning starts the last day of the prior year's show. So we'll send out contract renewals right on the spot. So we kind of get a general idea of who's going to plan to return. And for the most part, we see about a 90% return rate on most of our exhibitors. So it is a rather easy transition from year to year, but then comes in the legwork of how do you find your sponsors? What do those contracts look like? What kind of third party partners do we need to continue to build relationships? Those are mostly with our media partners. We do a lot of radio partnering, we do a lot of print partnering, and then we just have partners that we have through the American Royal facility because it's owned by the city that we start working
Sure,
contracts with.
sure.
So all of that starts taking place almost immediately. And then we start working out the floor plan based on who is returning, who's not. Do they want more space? Do they want less space? What does that entail? And then it just kind of snowballs from there. And then we start looking at one of the great things that I think we've done since I took over the show, this will be my 5th year, was add in events. So as you can probably see, we don't just host the show. There's events that go along with it. So we're
Right,
trying to make
right.
this more of an ag event versus just a farm show. So we're starting to see a lot of safety seminars that are sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau. We've got the AgMech Challenge that we added 4 years ago for the FFA students. So when they come in, they've got a competition that they can either watch because maybe they haven't been registered,
Right.
or they're registered and they're competing. And that's been really fun and it has really grown. And we are now nationally endorsed by the National FFA organization itself, which is a huge feat. They don't stamp their stamp of approval on everybody that comes to their
Yeah,
door,
they're
but
very
when we
picky. Yeah.
yeah, they are. And so when we said, hey, we've really kind of got this really cool event, they looked it over and they said, yes, we want to back it, especially since it's tied into an industry event such as the farm show. So
This would have been
there's
awesome
a
to
lot.
go to when I was in FFA. I would have loved to come up
Yeah.
here and go go something like this.
Yeah. Well, and it's been so interesting to see because the schools have really started to learn, I guess, that this is a place where you can come and network with colleges so that their
For
students
sure,
know
sure.
that there's ag related, you know, industry sources out there for
Sure,
them.
it's not all just about farming. It's
Yeah.
suck up grain bins,
Yes.
gates,
Yep.
chutes, the whole nine
Yep.
yards. I was really surprised the first year I came of the gambit of stuff that was at the show. I mean, it wasn't just like we talked about the root beer guy, and their home brewed root beer,
Yep.
uh, but the what was it? Energy drink, Coltrane? No,
Whole train. Yeah.
Coltrane
And
energy drinks. I interviewed those guys last year and talked about how they got. So even if you're an FFA, and you're not necessarily maybe you're in the agribusiness part of FFA. This
yeah.
gives you some ideas and, like you said, some abilities to network and contact companies after high school to possibly, do go in and do what you're doing, working with the equipment dealers. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, there is such a need for service technicians. And I don't think that that has been well communicated in our industry. I know that everybody's trying to do their best to recruit out of high school. But I think there's just such a force of like, you need to go to a 4-year school. But
yeah, yeah.
in reality, you don't.
Yeah,
um,
it's crazy. My nephew is a master electrician, whatever the highest level electrician it is, and he went right into VOAG school, and got apprenticeship, and then, I mean, him and my niece, they spent many years going from job site to job site, but they loved
yeah.
it because they got to travel and see the world, and then
Yep.
as he moved up, and he's now a general partner in his company. So
Yeah.
it doesn't take a 4-year degree to be successful. HVAC,
Yes. Welding.
welding.
It's
Oh yeah,
another
yeah.
good
If you can
one.
weld aluminum,
Plumbing.
if you can weld aluminum, you can write a ticket.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, okay. So you were talking about space. I know we
Yeah.
talked about before how you plan that. So can you maybe explain that again? Because that was very interesting.
Yeah. So we actually use a really cool service provider that helps us map out all of the floor plans because we've got 4 very large rooms, as you well know, and each room probably dedicates itself to about 100,000 square feet. So we occupy over 400,000 square feet of show
Yeah.
space, and so we just kind of break it up. There are certain restrictions that are in certain areas. For instance, you can't put a 14-foot tall piece of equipment in the upper level because the max height is only 11'6".
Right.
So you've got to kind of know what you're working with and who you're dealing with when you're going to plan these things. So that's why you kind of see a lot of the larger equipment in the lower areas, because of that reason. So governors will house a lot of your large farm equipment, and so won't Hale Arena. And then upstairs, we've got, another great area of there's a lot of trucks up
Right.
there. There's a lot of ATV equipment up there, buildings,
Yeah.
things
Kansas
of that
City
nature.
Peterbilt, I think, had an exhibit up there last
Yes.
year. Yeah.
Yep. And they'll be back.
Oh,
Well,
good. Yeah.
actually, I just lied.
Oh,
Peterbilt is not coming back. Next Tran Trucks
okay.
is who will be up there, and they've been up there for a lot of years as well. They're a great company, and they'll bring in trucks of all different sizes and magnitudes.
I
So if
think
you're
they
just
were there my
needing,
first year, if I remember right. Yeah.
yeah, probably, yeah. And but again, and so that'll be the area upstairs that houses like some other things as well. So we've got like the antique display that's normally up there for the antique tractors. We've got the shopping area upstairs, which is a fun little family getaway, I guess you could
Sure.
say, where there's all sorts of things. And this year, I think we kind of talked about this, I think last interview, we're going to have like baby kangaroos. There's always been
No,
baby
no,
goats.
you didn't tell me about that. Yeah, I remember last year my wife and I, we would looked at the petting zoo and just kind of looked, but you're going to have baby kangaroo. That's awesome.
Yep. And it
Okay.
seems so weird. Like, why would you have baby goats there and all these things? But honestly, kids still love to be a kid when they come to the
Sure.
show. And
Yep.
even though they've probably got these great animals at their house, it's just different when you come somewhere and you see them at a show.
Sure.
And so this year, yeah, we had a gal reach out from us. She's from a very small community in Kansas and said, I'd really like to bring my kangaroos. And I was like, you have kangaroos.
That's awesome.
So there you go. There's my plug of the
So,
exotic animal.
yeah. So is Kelly Tillage going to be here this year?
Kelly Tillage. You know what, off the top of my head, that doesn't ring a bell.
They were here last year, but they're Australian company.
Okay, well, so are they exhibiting in with somebody else? Because a lot of times we'll have companies
Um,
come
they may have
in.
been. Maybe they were Salford. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure, but they were.
Okay, well, Salford Group is for sure returning. They'll be in Hale Arena.
But Kelly Tillage is Australian, and the U.S. sales guy was there and from Australia, and so I was like, "Hey, they got kangaroos upstairs, man. You want to go see them? That'd be
Yeah,
awesome."
I want to say the guy who was part of Clay Como is also with an Australian group, and so he may appreciate it as well. But I know
Sure,
he was in the governor's area, so
sure,
and I can't remember if they were with Price Brothers in their booth or who they were with, but it
right,
was their first year showcasing their brand new piece of equipment.
right.
So that's something else that's kind of fun is a lot of times companies will utilize the Western Farm Show to launch new
New
equipment.
equipment, sure,
And so we don't know until they come in that they're like, hey, this is the first show, or maybe it's the second one, because
right,
sometimes they'll do it at the prior show, which is Louisville,
right.
and then they'll come straight to the Western Farm Show and showcase it here too.
I've been just dying to get to Louisville sometime, but it's just never. It's the timing's always been off. But
Yeah, it's a great show. We're part of a group where all of us show managers get together just to kind of talk about what we saw and what we didn't and trends and all the fun stuff. And they're part of that. And they do have a very, very good show. I would tell anybody to go be a part of that and at least go see it once. I've not actually been able to see it. I was supposed to go last year. My flight got canceled,
yeah,
but it's the week before my show, so it's very, very complicated to
hard.
step
Yes,
away
sure. Now,
when you're in the trenches.
so speaking of multiple shows, you also do another show it's in Illinois. I can't remember the town.
Gifford. It's in
Gifford. Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
What's
I
this?
do. So the Midwest Ag Expo is the
Okay.
second show that I do operate solo again. It's a show that's a little bit different. It's still very much row crop oriented with some ranch type focus on
Sure.
it as well. It's about a 200 exhibitor show to where the Kansas City is over 4.
Right.
So about half the size, but it's fun. It's a very strong show. Actually, we've seen a lot of growth in that show the last couple of years. And so that's been fun to watch and navigate itself. Because again, like this one, when you have growth, it means you've got to really work hard on where do you put all these people.
Right. Now
And
that
so
show is actually in end of this month, right?
well, it's in 2 weeks. So it'll
Okay.
be January 21st, 22nd.
So
And then we also do have a third show.
okay, tell us about that one.
Um, yep, I don't have a whole lot to do with it. Then I just kind of oversee and help them finagle any headaches that they may have. But it's the New York Farm Show, which
Right.
is in Syracuse.
Now
And that
that
one is very much the same type of a show as Kansas City. It's
okay.
the 400 plus exhibitors. It's
So,
in
so that was a show you guys picked up from
Yep.
something else and
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
just
Our company has
took
had
that
a couple
on, right?
mergers. Yep. So within like the last 5 years, we've added some what we would say is territory, but really, like I mentioned
Yeah,
before, we've
right,
got members in all of our states.
right.
So
Now you're the director of help me out.
associate members and farm shows.
Right. Okay. So
Mhm.
yeah, I was surprised. Um, I took a peek at the website the
Yeah.
other day. I hadn't done that when I met with you the first time, and I went, "Holy crap! They got a lot of people in an office."
So
So yeah,
technically, our office is about a 35 person company. So considering our terrain and what we do, we actually are still fairly small in comparison to what a lot of companies
right.
do. We just got a lot of really good, smart people that can wear multiple hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we wear them well and we do a great job because there are probably, like you saw, several other events that we do. We've got a
I
national
did.
conference, we do clay shoots, golf tournaments, all sorts of fun stuff. Um, but we just manage it well. And that's, I think, great when you're talking about how you can be so efficient with such a small group.
Sure, sure. And the stuff, I just was amazed at all the different things that, when I thought North American dealers, I thought, okay, it's a group where the dealers pay some fees and then they get, information distributed about, marketing or whatever. But it's more
Yeah.
than that. And I was really surprised at
Yeah,
really all the stuff that your organization does.
we really like to pride ourselves on what we can do service wise for our members. So to your point, we've got a governmental affairs team that
Right.
fights law and regulations on behalf of our members. We've got a consulting group that can help you with audits and
That's
401ks.
I was looking at. I was like, boy, that's a lot of accountants.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I bet these guys are CPAs that go out
Yep.
to dealers and help them with
Yep.
their books and their things of that nature. And what
Yeah.
kind of where it kind of clued me in, I used to work for a company out of Chicago, and I'm not going to name them, but I went in and basically sold a 3 day. We'll come in and take a look at your company for 3 days, and then
Yep.
if you need book work, we'll bring in an accountant. And then I kind of picked up. I was like, that's what these guys do. This one of the things they do is they'll send people out to a dealer, and hey, we're struggling in this. We need some help with this.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, now I'm getting a picture of what North American Equipment
Equipment.
Dealers Association
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah,
So
we offer a lot of different services and that's something that a lot of associations, to your point, don't do, which is why I think it has kind of separated us from some of those others and why we've had the mergers that we have had.
right,
Because especially through COVID, I hate to bring up that nasty C word,
yeah,
but a lot of
right.
things changed for a lot of people.
It did. Yes,
And there was a lot of succession planning that needed to start being put into place. And there was a lot of acquisitions. And those are the types of things that we offer assistance on. We can even read through legal contracts because we've
okay,
got some attorneys on staff as
right,
well that we work with and through. And so if you're looking at even bringing on another brand, we can go through that legal documentation for you and just kind of help make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are
sure,
crossed. And it
sure.
looks like a good partnership. So, yeah, we offer a ton of things that probably most people don't know about. And so, yeah,
You should
it's
have a
where
booth at the egg show.
I know we
You
should.
guys
We
really
really
should.
should. We really should.
You should.
Um,
You let people know what you do. I mean, you know,
yeah.
I thought American Royal put on the Western Farm Show. That
Oh,
was, and it wasn't
yep.
until I started digging in it, well,
Yeah.
a couple months before I saw you, and I went, okay, it's at the American Royal, but not by the American Royal.
Yeah, and we
And
get that confusion a lot because they obviously are very involved in farming and ranching as well. And
for
they do
sure,
a
yeah,
lot of very good events too. And so when you're housed down there,
you're
it
right.
does look like it could be an
Sure,
American Royal event. When in all actuality, there is no business ties there.
right.
We just rent the facility. And again, we rent it from the city. And so we actually are in partnership more
Yeah, yeah.
with the city than the
Well,
American Royal.
and that's
But
what that's what I discovered when I went in to meet with you. I was like, I walked in their offices and I'm
yeah.
like, I look for Jamie, and they're like,
She's not here. She don't work here.
She might be out in the arena, but that's on something else. We just rent the space, and I'm like,
Yep.
whoa, wait a minute. American Royal
Yeah.
rents American Royal rents the American Royal, and
Yeah.
that's when
Isn't that?
they said no, yeah, Kansas City owns the complex, and we just rent the
Yep.
space. I was
Yeah,
like,
it's very confusing.
yeah, I was like,
And
wow,
yeah, and so that's why to your point in our last interview with the new American Royal facility, some of that confusion could
right,
start dissipating a little bit
dissipating.
because yeah, they'll definitely be either running their own events there or renting out space for others to
Sure.
come in and that is something that we are obviously entertaining
And
because
get
that
another
would
tractor pull.
Yes. You know what? So we have talked to the tractor
Right.
pull group, and they are all hands in on bringing back a tractor pull to our event. You know, the
That's
Kimber
awesome.
Arena remodel is what really duped us on that whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Once they remodeled it and put in
There's
the
just
flooring for more of the sports
yeah, there just
type
wasn't
events.
any way of doing it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
So, and
and
we're so we're landlocked on what we can do. You know, I could empty out Hill Arena and then put something in there, but then I've lost
you
a
lose
lot
all
of
the
my,
exhibitor space. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
exactly. So we had
Well,
to,
let's keep our fingers crossed. The new site will have some space because I tell you, truck racing at the
yep,
Speedway, the American Royal is going to be right just next to the Speedway, and now the
yeah,
Kansas City Chiefs are coming into that area somewhere.
yeah,
We at work have been
yet
looking
to
at
be determined.
we've been looking at where can the stadium fit. So we took you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you all the stuff we have access to, but we got some
Oh, very good. We
overhead
might have to have
views.
an off the table conversation.
But we got some overhead views, and we're like cropping space and putting it over time. It's not going to fit there. It's not going to fit
Yeah.
there.
Yep. Well,
But
and Bucky's is going to take in,
yeah, and Bucky's is going to
some
take
of
a big
that.
amount of
So,
space. Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see where they finally put it. But anywhere up in that area is a tremendous thing for Kansas City, Kansas. Anyway, sorry,
yeah,
Kansas
I
City,
agree.
Missouri, but the American Royal moving there is going to be really nice because it gives them a lot of space to do stuff.
Yes.
Now that
Yes.
I'm understanding the nuances of why the American Royal moved, I can see how that's going to benefit them and
Yeah.
things like your farm show.
Yeah, definitely. I keep going back to a lot of the nuances for us even will kind of dissipate. And some of that is stuff that people don't even know about. But for like a show manager, when you're hosting an event and you want the internet to work and the internet
Right.
isn't a strong enough signal, that's a huge detriment
Sure. And
to
then
how
you got
you
to
operate your show.
hello, Kansas City. How can I help you?
Yeah.
Well, our internet
Yeah.
didn't work. Oh, we'll get somebody down there. It'll be 24 hours. 24 hours, the show's over. So
Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah.
that.
Well, there's some really cool features to like that service providing group that we use that I would love to incorporate into the show, like an interactive map floor plan that you could hop on your phone and try to, you could literally look somebody up if you knew that they were there and it would tell you exactly where they are in the show. But those are the types of things that I don't dare bring to the table because I just know the signal down there is
Sure,
not
sure.
great. And it would create so much havoc and frustration for my team as they're answering all these questions of why
Sure.
can't I get this to
Right,
download or
right.
to, and I was just like, yep, nope, technology doesn't work well down there. So
Yeah,
hopefully with the new innovative stuff, new facility,
sure.
some of those would go away and yeah, allow us to just kind of have a more free flowing show. And
Well,
just being all in one building, because the new American Royal is building what they call the barns and it's like 5 barns pieced together. So it's like a
okay.
1/2 mile stretch of just open
Wow.
facility. And
Okay.
that would, of course, if we picked up our show today and put it over there, it would just fit.
Right.
We probably have to kick out a little bit of exhibitors, which sucks. Nobody wants to have to say, like, I'm sorry, we no longer have space because we
Right.
know that there are people that want to expand their booths when we go over there. But we've got different stuff that plays into our favor there too, with the other arenas that are going to be on what would be like their office building side,
Right.
which is kind of that phase that they
Because
started.
they're still building. They've only got a portion of it built. So yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So it kind of was supposed to be like a phase 2 part.
Right.
And you can see when you drive by that they started it because there's like cinder block up
Right.
what looks to be about 10 feet tall, but I don't know because it's hard to tell from the road.
Right.
But I don't know when that portion will be completed. Because they have done some work
Yeah.
since they had to stop construction, which was
Right.
like back in last year.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah. There
don't
was
know
the
how
bond,
much.
something about a bond issue or something. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But so you're talking about interactive boards. The greatest interactive board I've ever seen was at Oregon State University when I took my daughter there. In their visitor center, they literally had a platform or like a counter, and you could press things on it's like a big computer screen, and then on that wall, the building would light up, and it was like I want to say a 3D map of the campus, but you had all the buildings, and you press this, and then it would light up on the board, and that was really cool. Now,
Yeah.
that's a lot of money went into that,
Yeah.
but it is.
I wish my nonprofit budget was that of Oregon State or
It's
wherever.
engineering school, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's I might have some ideas. I mean, we'll talk offline. I might have an idea of something we can do for you. I got an inside source to engineering company, so maybe we can get them to donate something.
Nice. Okay.
So, but let me make some inquiries. But yeah, so let's see. Tell me about some of the exhibitors that are going to be here this year. I know we have a new exhibitor that you're excited to be having back.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So AGCO is coming back, and they've come back as a powerhouse in our show. So they'll have all of their large farm equipment, of course, displayed in Governors, which is where you'll find like John Deere, New Holland, all those
Right.
fun, big, large equipment guys. But then they're also going to have an educational booth set up upstairs because
Oh,
they are the biggest sponsor this year of that AgMet competition. So they're
oh, good.
bringing
Okay.
equipment for the kids to compete on. They're going to give away a ton. I mean, the kids this year participating are going to just be spoiled. I'm just going to say it. They're spoiled. They're going to walk away with a ton of toolkits. They're going to have great merch,
That's
all the
good.
things.
Good.
And so AGCO really has stepped in and just been amazing partners for us this year. And of course, John Deere is a huge advocate of that as well, and can equip.
Right.
So all of them deserve a big shout out, as well as BTC Bank. BTC Bank has been a great partner of ours. Wendy Loges is one of the sweetest gals that ever has crossed my paths when it comes to working with somebody that's a huge
Sure.
sponsor.
That's good.
They've given $1,000 every year since we started the competition to the top team that
That's
wins in
cool.
that competition. Yeah, so the schools already know, like, hey, if you're the best of the best, then you're going to take home $1,000 from BTC Bank. But
That's
then they
awesome.
also support our Women in Ag event that we added last
Okay,
year.
so tell me about that. I don't think we talked about that the first time we got together. So tell me about the Women in Ag event.
Yeah, so what we do is we look for women who are a big influence in the ag community right now, and they generally try to keep it pretty regionalized so that they can speak to what's happening in our area because it does tend to flex if you're on the East Coast, West Coast, whatever. But we bring in these women basically because we know that we've taken on massive roles within the last several decades
Right.
of farming. You know, it used to be a very male dominant role because that's just how it was. Like men are hardworking, they're stronger,
Yep.
all
Yep.
these things. But there's become roles that the female has definitely started to be able to navigate and own to some degree. And so that's where some of these women come in. Some of them are their own farming operation, so they're running it. And so they'll speak to how they got started, what that took. Some of them even talk to how their husbands have really supported them
Right.
in kind of this role reversal type world that we're not really accustomed to. And then the rest of them, like one of them, Lauren Ebensbacher, she's more of a home wife, but she went from city to country. So she
Right.
speaks to that transition. Zoe Kent is our John Deere farmer that's coming in, and she farms a pretty big operation. Macy Ego is from around this area, and she does a lot of farming stuff on her own as well. So all of these ladies are just there to share how they do it, how they get support, what kind of networking they do in terms of whether that's business or personal or whatever.
Right.
And they just
Right.
kind of help because we had actual influencers that attended because they wanted to learn from these other ladies, like, how did you get up and starting and how did you get all these
Right.
followers? And so I really feel like our lineup this year, Lavelle Windsor is from K-State. She's going to speak more to kind of that financial side of what does it take to operate a farm and what are the metrics you should really be
Yeah.
watching for.
That name's really ringing a
So,
bell. Trying to remember Mary's name. Mary's a big FFA.
um, gosh, Mary Beth, is it Mary Beth?
Mary Beth, yeah. I'd have to go look at my book.
Gosh,
yeah.
I know you're putting me on the spot because I feel like
we
I
were
should know
all
as well.
scared of her name when we were in FFA, and I was really surprised to hear that after almost 20 some years later, she's still there. So I can't remember her name, but
I know, and I'm trying to do a quick search to be like, maybe I would know, but I don't think I
yeah,
would find it. But
yeah.
anyway,
But I was supposed to go out and do an interview at K State last
okay.
spring, but we just couldn't pan it out. So I'm going to try and hit it again this spring. But yeah, my VOAG teacher, he's my old VOAG teacher. He's an Angus, raises Angus. Well, there's two of them. His brother is a Hereford breeder, and he's an Angus breeder, and they're like
Okay.
literally like 3 miles apart or something, back in my hometown. And so I'm gonna try and get out there this spring and take a look at his Angus breeding operation, and maybe go by the old homestead and do a little video of this is where I grew up.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's just it's interesting. Some of the things I've seen at the show that I go, man, I wish we had that when I was working on the farm.
Yes.
But,
There's a guy that makes like this wire winder tool that helps you like,
I saw that.
Okay, and I was like, dude, I bet all the older farmers are mad.
Oh yeah, throw that on the
That
back
these
of a
types of tools
three-wheeler.
are not
Yeah,
handy.
throw that on the back of a four-wheeler and the back of a truck.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like, geez.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I started out riding fences on horseback, and little bits of wire in a bag, and fixing fence, and hoping
Yep.
something doesn't spook the horse, and I got to spend an hour chasing the damn thing.
Yes,
But
that's right.
then Dad bought a three-wheeler, and that was it, man. I was like, I'm all over the three-wheeler.
Heck yeah.
But
Yeah. The advances of farming have definitely changed over the last even 10 years, to be
yeah,
honest, with GPS and autonomy and
yeah.
drones.
Oh yeah,
So some of
drones.
those
It's
efficiencies have,
crazy,
yeah, I
crazy.
know it's crazy. And that again, to your point earlier, is why ag is in such need of employees. Things have changed so
Sure.
much, and it's not just, oh, hey, you got to go turn wrenches,
Right.
although there is a huge need for that. But
It's
you can get into GPSing and
programming
yeah,
drones to
coding. Oh,
spray. I know I interviewed a ag spray something
oh yeah, yeah. There's
last
like an
year.
agri spray,
Yeah,
agri
agri
spray drones.
Yeah, I interviewed them last year, and they were talking about how much time they had, how many gallons each drone, and then we went through each of the
Yes,
drones, and I was just like, holy crap.
yeah,
I knew they were using them, to do vineyards and map vineyards and look at, dead vines and
right. Yep.
light and stuff like that. But I didn't realize they're using drones to actually go out and
Yes.
spray fields.
Yep.
And I was just like,
Absolutely.
holy crap. And see, that's a whole nother field for
Mhm.
kids to get into.
Yes.
I mean, our kids these days are on their little phones and their video controllers, and I'm a gamer, but not, you know,
Right.
but, and man, you want to play video game, be a drone controller going out and spraying fields, I
Heck
mean,
yeah. Who doesn't want to fly a drone, which is the next best thing, right?
right,
Outside of maybe driving your own or flying your own airplane.
right,
Um,
right. And
which again,
you don't have to be in the
you can still
military to do
spray
it.
fields.
Yeah,
You can still spray fields with an
yeah,
airplane. So
yeah.
there's another calling as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I interviewed the guys out of Sabetha, Hiawatha, Sabetha. They were there last year. I
mhm.
can't remember what their name was, but
There's a lot here.
yeah.
Like I think everybody
I should have
is
got my book. I don't even know where I put it. I got my book with
yeah,
all my names
I
in.
think some people are just shocked because I think last time at our interview, you were like, yeah, there's 3 rooms of stuff, right? And I'm like, no, there's 4.
Yeah, I totally missed the fourth room. 3 years.
And that's why it's like
Yeah.
people need to just come, but be prepared to spend a day because there are a lot of exhibitors.
Oh yeah.
And so We've got food trucks on site that we've brought in over the course of the last couple of years. So there's good eating to be had. There's great snacks. You can get roasted peanuts, cotton candy,
Oh, I know.
lemonade,
It's just all the root beer.
the root beer guy. Heck yes.
Yeah,
So
it's just my wife went last year to be my videographer, my camera person, and she was just amazed too, and she says, "There's a lot of farmer butts around here. I'm going to take some Wrangler tags." So it's,
yeah.
yeah, the farmers aren't all about coveralls, and overalls.
Nope, they've upped the
farmers,
ante.
and there's girl farmers.
There are, and that's why that family living center has been so fun to kind of watch as well, because again, you've got Carhartt's up there, and Key
Road.
was up there, for the FFA kids, because they were like the major sponsor of their wardrobe and the Blue
Wasn't there a
Jacket.
whole shoe store up there last year?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah. Oh
family
my
home and
goodness.
center
Yes, we were like,
sets up basically a store themselves. Like they will bring
yeah.
in
I was just amazed
all
at all the
kinds.
boots.
Yes. And tools, they'll sell through a ton of tools. So if you're in need of a brand new toolkit, they do multiple tool lines.
Right.
Stanley Black and Decker is the primary line that they're going to be doing, and they're a huge sponsor this year. So I'm going to plug them as well. But you can come get
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. I mean, it's up there, and it's worth like browsing through there as well
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
what all you can find. Miniature tool or miniature toys.
Yeah. I saw
Matson Miniature Toys sells through so
I
much
saw that.
stuff up there, and I just love the guy. He's just there for fun, and he loves being able to sell these little tools or little toys.
Yeah.
So Girl Scout cookies are up there. Oh my God, they sell through so many boxes of cookies. They literally
We're recording it. All right. So we had a little. We met.
pick up.
We met the. Our Zoom call abruptly ended, so we're starting. We're starting again. So we left off with Girl Scout cookies.
Yes. So what I was saying is like every year it's so funny because after their season of Girl Scout cookie selling is over, they win a trip because of the support that everyone gives them during the show. So they've been there for 4 out of the 5 years, I believe. And so it's just fun. Like not only do I see these girls grow every year, but they get to go on a fun trip.
Yeah,
And it's
sure.
mostly due to the amount of cookies they sell at the show.
That's awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah.
speaking of other organizations, I interviewed them last year. I interviewed a gentleman, and then his family was standing back there, and I was like,
Come over.
he had 2
Yeah.
boys. Missouri Farmers Association.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Missouri Farmers. Yep. The young Missouri Farmers.
There it is. Yes,
Yes.
Yes. So I enjoyed talking to them and learning about their organization and what
Yep.
they do, and they invited me to some dinners, that they have as their group. But I haven't been able
Fun.
to get with them. I lost the contact information, so I'm hoping to get it from them again this year. But
Well, they will be there because they definitely help support the canned goods that we get donated from
Right.
the schools. So they help count and keep track and all that crazy stuff that I don't have time to do.
sure, sure.
And so, yeah, we put them down there by the FFA booth so that they can kind of help
Yeah.
field any questions or
Yeah.
all that fun stuff.
I'm going to try and talk to the Ag Talk Radio guys this year. I was going to do it last year and then I chickened out, but I think this year I'm going to go over and talk to them.
Heck yeah.
Do they broadcast? Are they broadcasting live from
Yes,
there? Okay.
all of those radio partners that you see in that main alleyway when you come in, we call that Central Hall.
Yeah.
They are all live broadcasting, and so they offer me to give them a few names of like companies we want them to interview and stuff. So
Sure.
they'll do that all from the show, which is super fun and
Okay.
exciting.
That's cool. I might go over and talk to the Ag Talk Radio guys then.
Yeah,
But,
you may as well, because
yeah.
I mean they've got a lot of good personalities too that people may know if you can get even like so Alpha Media they have like Greg Akagi. He's a huge farm
Okay.
announcer guy and people know him. they recognize his voice because you walk in and he's got like the low voice, and
Right,
it just
right.
kind of shocks you because you wouldn't picture him having like this very low voice. When you see him, you'll understand, like, because he's not a big guy, he's kind of a little guy,
I'm,
and but he's got this bellowy voice,
voice.
and
I'm trying to remember who I was I grew up with on the radio.
we grew up with Paul Hart.
Paul Harvey. Yes, Paul Harvey.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. No,
yeah.
you're younger than I am, so I'm surprised you know Paul Harvey. But
Well, I
well,
grew
I
up,
guess
you gotta remember, I grew up in small Western
yeah, I
Kansas.
guess
So he
that's
was one of
true.
the
He
only
was
stations that we would get.
yeah, he was still on for a long time though. I guess
Yeah,
so. Yeah,
he was.
yeah, we're not gonna name ages here, but yeah,
Yeah, please don't. I want people to be deceived by my age.
I we just had our 20th reunion, 25th reunion. I don't know. I wasn't able to go, but one of my friends, she put out, instead of her normal Christmas letter, she put out a where everybody's at letter, and it was kind of cute.
Yeah, those are fun.
I when we lost the farm in '87, Dad was started farming. His dad was a farmer. His dad was a farmer. So Dad's a third generation farmer. And I had plans to actually go back and farm with him after I retired from the military. But it didn't work. Of course, it didn't work out. But
Yeah.
in the '70s, when the cattle market bottomed out, Dad just did not recover from that.
No.
And he the how he kept it going for 15 more years, I don't know. But it finally the bank said we can't float loans anymore.
Yeah.
And I know he was heartbroken about it. I was heartbroken about it, but losing the farm and everything that goes along with it. We were a feeder cattle operation. We had about 400 head of feeder cattle every year, and maybe about half of that in pasture cattle, spring, summer. But we ran about 2,200. I think we had like 2,200 acres of our own ground, and at least another about 1,500. But just all of a sudden gone, bam, gone. And a lot of farmers in the '80s were the same thing, I've always kind of kept my farming has always been deep in my heart, and it's always been funny because I tell stories and my kids are like, yeah, whatever, Dad. No, I was really knee deep in cow shit when I was your age, so stop complaining about having to go take out the trash,
Yes.
And then it was the picture on the wall, the aerial photos, and Papa, they talked to my dad. Who's that driving the tractor with the cows? Oh, that's me.
That's me.
Well, who's that walking in the cow poop? Well, that's your dad. And they both looked at each other, and it's like, yeah, I was knee deep in cow poop when I was in your age, so stop complaining,
Yep.
And
Yep.
it was just funny because people don't realize how hard farming is. It's not something that you just jump in a tractor and spend 8 hours in the tractor and go home at night.
No.
There's
too much risk.
The best description I ever heard
Consider
was I was in the kitchen one holiday, and my brother was in the living room, my two oldest daughters at the time, and somehow the topic got on the old farm. And I was going to walk in the living room and jump in, and for whatever reason I just stopped because I was just listening to him explain. Our dad, your grandpa, worked your dad like a dog. And it wasn't because he was being cruel. It was because that's what farming was about. Your dad would get up before dark, help our dad feed the cows on our farm, when then he would go to school and Papa would go to the big farm, which is at my grandmother's. And then your dad would go to school, and he would come home from school, and Mom would take him to the field, and he would be in the field until he either finished the field or until about midnight, when Mom would come get him, take him home, he'd take a shower, and do it all over again.
Yeah.
there was no him getting to play on the Xbox or
No.
watch TV and watch the shows. He was dog tired every night he came home. And then in the summer, him and Dad would literally be dark to dark. And you know, they were like, what? And then Dad was like, or my brother was like, and before I was born, your dad was out opening gates for our dad when he could barely pick the gate up and open the gate. He was the gate opener before he could drive equipment. You know, and that was his job, was to open the gates and close the gates so the cattle didn't get in and out of the pasture or the pen. And, you know, in the wintertime, he had his little coveralls and little hat and gloves, and he was out there freezing. And, you know, I told my kids about standing in the silage in the wintertime to keep my feet warm, and they were like, ew, what? I was like, well, so I had to explain the whole silage process. You know, it's chopped, you know, either cane or milo or corn or both or all of the above. And it's packed in a silo, and then the top part of it spoils and makes a hard crust. And then you break the crust, and then what's left is good feed silage. And because it's fermenting, it creates heat.
Yeah.
And I used to keep my feet very warm by standing in the back of the feed wagon, you know, and they were just, but.
I think I touched on that too when we had our first interviews. My parents were married at 16 and 18.
Right,
so
you did, yeah.
My grandfather and his brother were still very young. You know, they were in their 40s still.
Right.
So we didn't have the opportunity of taking on that farm life either. But there's days where I wish that I had, because I'm very inspired, and that's where my heartstrings are too. I left this industry after being in it for 10 years to go do something different. And I just always was like, I want to go back into the farming industry. Like, those people are solid. They're good people. They have great hearts. They're hardworking. I will take a farm kid as an athlete any day over a city kid.
Sure.
They're built differently. And we talked about that too. Just throwing the hay bales, or, you know, picking crops, whatever it is. Like, they just have a whole different work ethic. And they're sturdy kids. Now, not to say, we also touched on this, not to stereotype city kids, because there's good athletes too, but there's just a different ethic about the work that comes from a farm kid. Because to your point, they're up at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and they've even show kids, you know, they got to go out, they got to feed them, they got to prep them, they got to train them, they got to do all these things. And
I mean, I saw it in the military too, you know. Now, there were some city kids that just kicked ass, but generally, you grew up on a farm, didn't you, soldier? Yep, sir.
Yep, that's right.
I could tell. You were like up at butt crack of dawn fixing coffee and ready to go, and your squad mates were still in their sleeping bags. Just used to it, sir.
There's just kind of a different culture about it, I guess you could say. Maybe it's the culture thing, but I wish we'd had it, because also I have 2 kids, and my daughter, from the time she was 2, always wanted to be with a horse. And so we put her in riding lessons for about 3 years, and then she got bored because, you know, they wouldn't let her trot her horse. And so she's a little wild and frisky. And so if you didn't let her be wild and frisky, she was very bored. And so she ended her little riding career. But, you know, we did the competitions of the Western rider and stuff. And that was so fun for me, because, you know, it was kind of like I could live through her.
Right. Yeah, my dad was, he was a rodeoer all through high school. He was a high school rodeoer, and then in junior college. And Bobby Berger and him were roommates. Lane Frost.
Yeah, oh my God, Lane Frost.
His dad and my dad were good friends. And I don't remember this, but Dad said, yeah, you and Lane Frost played together as kids when we would go to a rodeo. And really? I was like, really? Wow, I didn't remember that. I said, yeah, you guys were a little bitty, but...
Now, they take on an extra step of extreme.
Yeah, that's an extra step of extreme. But that was my dad.
Those people, like, They scare me. Like, what are
But
you doing?
that was
Get on
my
these-
that was my dad. I remember getting bucked off the mare when our gelding nipped her in the butt because she was getting too close to him. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there. I must have been 7 or 8, and I'm laying there crying because it hurt. I mean, I bucked off a horse.
Yeah.
Dad's like, "Suck it up, get back on the horse. We got work to do." You know.
Like, Dad, I can't. I literally cannot feel my backside.
Yeah, and he wanted me to kind of follow in his footsteps. I rode one bull. I lasted
Oh.
4 seconds, and
Hey, you're halfway there, man.
Nope, I'm done.
Halfway there.
I'm done. I'm not getting on a big. No, he's got horns. Forget it.
Yeah. Oh God, we put our kids in a mutton busting contest when they were real little, and that was about the extreme of their extremism. They were like, "What is this?"
Well, so it's funny because like I said, there's farm cat over there back there. Hello, farm cat. You can see her back there in the back. She's black. She hangs down here in my office. So she's kind of cantankerous and doesn't get along with the other kitties. So she's my office cat, and sometimes
That's great.
when I'm live or streaming, she'll come up and I go on. But no, my kids. It was funny because I went on a field trip to a farm, and the farmer's talking about all these different things. He said, "Okay, stay away from the horses. They will bite you, and I don't want any of you to get bit." And I'm, this is all stuff I'd seen, and I'm like bored, and I'm like, I'm going to go over and see the horses. And I'm over there, and the farmer's like, hey, don't go over there. And I'm just kind of waiting him off. I went over and, I held my hand out, and I just happened to had sugar from my coffee in my pocket. And so I gave him a little, that was it, man. All the horses were coming over, and they're, how horses do, they're rubbing on me, and I'm rubbing, and everybody's going, oh my God, look at dad, look at their dad. And the farmer's like, okay, so you've been around horses before. And I'm like, grew up on horses. And he's like, I'm rubbing him. He's like, I'm surprised they haven't nipped at you. I said, oh, one of them did, but I just, I know how to handle it. Just,
Been bit before.
Yeah,
Right?
and my kids were like, we were going home. They're like, Dad, how do you know so much about horses? I was like, when I was your age, I was riding 10, 15, 20, 30 miles a day on a horseback. So, yeah. Shit, I know about horses.
Yeah, this is nothing.
Yeah. But they were just like, it's like,
Yep.
but I miss them. I miss horses. But, it's so folks, if you got to get to the American Royal this year and see the Western Farm Show. Tickets are what, $20?
So they're 10.
10 at the door?
Yep, 10 at the door, but you can go online and register for $3 off in advance.
There you go.
And then it will spit out a coupon for you. You just show it at the door, and then they'll actually print you a $7 ticket. So then that'll save you a little bit of money.
It's worth it. It's worth it, guys. It's worth it. We've just barely touched on, AGCO coming in was, to me, it was awesome because I'm a big Fendt equipment player in the game, Farm Sim 25. But, I love the case equipment. I've always been doing some comparison between Case and John Deere and Fendt, the top three. They each have... They
have their perks.
And
There's
some of them are better than others in some areas, but, I became a Fendt fan when I climbed into a Fendt Vario 900 at the Topeka Farm Show last year.
Okay.
And Lang Diesel Equipment had a display out there, and I hadn't even realized that Fendt was in Kansas. Now I knew AGCO was because the Heston Balers, they had bought the Heston equipment plant out there in Hillsboro, but I hadn't realized that there were dealers. I saw a Fendt combine, an Ideal, I think it was a 9. And I saw a Fendt tractor pulling a grain cart down by Topeka one time, and I'm like, okay, there's got to be a dealer somewhere. Yeah. And I wasn't sure. So I Googled Fendt, and I was like, wow, LDI. Okay, they're in Topeka. They're all over Kansas. Where in
Yep.
the hell have
They're a
I
huge
been? I've been
Kansas
stuck in
company.
Kansas City where there's no, and then I met him at the Topeka Farm Show, and I climbed in that, and I'm like, oh, I love this tractor. This is awesome. And I want to just drive it. I'll just drive it out of here, but I'll run over people, and I can't do that. But so I started doing the real big compressors and equipment. And so in Farms in 25, I use a lot of Fint equipment.
Yeah, I'm really glad that they came back in because they've never been a part of my show experience.
Right.
Because they dropped out before I took over. That was COVID year. And so to have them back is big. Parallel Ag is a Fint dealer, and they were in the show for 2 years. And then, again, with the way the ag economy has been, which has been unfortunate.
Well, and we talked about this before. It's it's an expense for them to come to the show.
It is. I cannot again thank the exhibitors enough. Like it really is a massive expense. By the time they haul their equipment in and they put all of their employees in a booth, pay for hotels and food and travel, it's a big expense for them. And so I just hope that in return, the best I can do is promote it. And with people like you who've been gracious to give me the time and the ability to share like just how great it has been. I mean, we're 64 years deep into the farm show world.
Sure.
So we believe that there's some very good quality to what we are producing. And that again goes back to the exhibitors. And if we don't, have the space for them, they can't showcase what they've got to people like yourself.
And the new stuff. I mean, even Suck Up Grain Bins had one of their new models of grain bins in there. I don't know, it was last year or the year before or something. And then they did that fabulous entrance last year, which was really cool.
Yes. That has been a fun little addition as well. So for those of you who have never been in, you need to come so you can see it. But literally, it's the first thing you see when you walk in the door is a grain bin. And
they got the hole cut out so you can walk right through it.
Yep.
That's the entrance into the show, and it's pretty cool.
And that's just again like Missouri dealers coming together saying, hey, we want to partner, we want to do something big. And so like Miller Welding is a big part of that. And then Seed and Farm Supply are who help put that together. So that's been really fun. And those guys are a hoot. Like you need to go talk to those guys. Keith.
The who?
Keith and them. Miller Welding.
Okay.
Farm Supply. Yeah.
I'll go see them. I'll go see them this year.
They have the booths beside each other and they've got a bunch of the grain bin stuff set up. So they'll show you like the auger part of it and how the systems run and all the fun stuff. But they would be someone worth interviewing.
All right, I'll go see. I'll go see
seeing
them.
how business is and stuff. I like to do shout outs to all my sponsors if possible. They're definitely one.
All right.
But yeah, the show itself is just really worth spending a day at. And I know some people would be like, $7-10, whatever. But really, it's an event that not a lot of people could bring their family to. Kids get in free, so 12 and under is.
I mean, even if you just go 1 year, the experience and the people you talk to and the questions you ask. There was a guy that had developed a lubricant, and he had a little booth last year, and I don't even remember his name, but it was interesting, and just out of his garage, and he was out promoting his stuff.
Is it Oil by Easy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be back.
Yeah. So,
again, it's there's also stuff there that anybody could be entertained by or just to learn.
Yeah.
From.
I mean, it's just, folks, if you want to know what agriculture's about, come to the show and talk to the people, like Jamie said, the women in ag industry.
Honestly, that's good for anybody.
You don't
even have to be a woman farmer. Like if you just want to be motivated and inspired and have a feel good day,
Yeah.
come listen to these women. Because really, the message that they deliver can be applied to any aspects of your life, right? It doesn't
Right.
just have to pertain to farming, but that's what they are pertaining it to, because obviously that's what they know. But last year, I sat through a couple of the ladies talking, and I mean, it was just such good feedback on
Right.
inspiration and hope and passion and drive
Sure.
and motivation. You know, all the key terms that you want to hear when you're spending a day amongst other women. But I would say that somebody who's not in the women community could get a lot out of that day event.
Well, I follow JoJo Snow and Laura Farms on YouTube, and
Yep,
watch their antics. And I think Laura Farms is in Nebraska.
I think you're right, because
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
recognize the name. Yeah.
And JoJo Snow and her husband used to work for a gentleman in western Kansas, and they bought their own farm in South Dakota, and so they had the whole moving up there, and they went from John Deere to Case. So that was, it was
Oh,
kind of cool.
okay.
Um, but I think the equipment came as part of the farm
Oh,
purchase
yeah,
up there.
most
So
likely. Yeah, I think a lot of times if you're
yeah,
purchasing a farm, you can get the equipment,
yeah,
yeah, for a nice small price.
yeah, yeah. So it's we were a mixture of John Deere and Case I. Well, it was international back then. We had a
Yep.
1066 and 1086 and 4020 and a 3020.
Okay.
So AgGuard, is sponsors that have that old tractor. It's going to be part of that show up there. One of the directors is my neighbor up the street here, Mike.
Okay.
He knows
Good.
you.
Yeah.
But just I was just like a couple years ago, went up there and I went, I used to drive that tractor. That was a tractor I drove. That's a 3020. I mean, that's almost the same
And now
unit
you've
and
aged
everything.
yourself.
I know, I know,
Ding, ding,
I
ding.
know. But
You just screwed up.
I did. But I've never hit. I know. I don't hide it. I got gray hair, gray hair and gray beard. Let my hair grow
Oh,
out.
shoot.
Wife's threatened to cut it off in my sleep, but
Oh
yeah,
no.
but
Color, not the hair.
the folks at work like it, and so I was talking about getting it cut, and they said, no, 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 I'm going to see how long you can get it to grow. So that's kind of where.
There you go.
And it's
Well, I'll measure it for you when you come to the show, because I'll probably have a
yeah,
tape measure on me.
long hair in a military organization, I tell you, So
Oh yeah, you didn't fare well back then with long hair. You
no, but
got it through the door, so you
I'm
got to
an,
grow it now.
I'm an Army civilian now, so they can't get after me. I get
That's
a few,
right.
I get a few long hair there, sir. Yes, sir. But hey, I'm retired, and there's no rule against Army civilians having long hair, so
That's
fine.
right. That's right.
But
Uh,
no, I tell you, I look forward to let's revisit this next year again for the 65th.
sure.
We'll do a
Yeah.
65th interview, and you can tell me what's new about the 65th annual Western Farm Show. But
Okay.
I appreciate you, and I do look forward to seeing you at the show. I'm not sure which day we're going to go. I will let you know.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Um,
Keep me posted.
and we can get together for a quick chat on video. But
Sure. Yeah.
and you can tell me how the show's going so far. But I look
Don't ask
forward.
me in the present. I may spew something out.
Hey, it's all good. It's
I'll be sweating and stressed out. Actually, once the doors open on Thursday morning and it's go time, then I can kind of like take a little bit of like okay.
I'm just gonna wander around and talk to people. Is that
Yeah.
kind of how it works for you once the show starts? You just kind of
A little bit. That first opening couple of hours, like again, where people are like, "Hey, what about this? What about that? I forgot this," and so you're still putting out fires, of
right
course. But I you're
towards the
probably
end, towards the end
on
of the
it.
first day it gets better though.
Yeah, yeah, and then I can just show up, and I'm like, okay, hey, we're here. My staff is very good.
Right.
I really train them like the week before and say, hey, this is all I need you guys to do, and because I do all the heavy lifting, of course, and so that tends to be great.
Yeah.
But there's just days where you have to like turn and not look, because like they're bringing in combines and they're like inches on the
Inches.
side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, don't tear down the building, you guys. Don't hit walls. Those are the stressful moments of like, oh my God, I don't want to watch them move in this piece of equipment. I don't want to see it. There's
My wife is always like, when I
chaos.
pull into a parking space, she goes, you just missed him by an inch. I go, yeah, I planned
That's
it
an
that
inch.
way. An inch. I didn't hit him. I knew I was
Yeah.
gonna miss him. She's like holding on to
Mhm.
the,
Yeah. Well, imagine, these
Uh,
massive pieces of equipment moving into 16 by 14-foot
oh
doors.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. I remember, trying to maneuver 60-ton tanks,
yeah.
in a city street. We drove our tank from Emporia to Harrington, Kansas Fair, and
Oof.
we drove it literally on the back roads through Council Grove, and yeah.
Dang.
Are we gonna hit that sign? We're gonna hit that light.
Right?
We got it. All right, we made it. Keep going.
That's
But
probably what, you know
yeah.
what? I do have to tell you this. I think it was 2 years ago. I was leaving the show after closing. It was like, I don't even know, 8 o'clock, something like that. And I was like, what is all these flashing lights? Like, shoot, somebody must have had an accident. One of my exhibitors' equipment was too tall and it hit a bridge.
Oh no.
Yeah, on 70 heading back west. And I was
Oh.
just like, son of a gun, that's one of my show people. They misjudged the overpass
Yep.
and clipped the bridge pretty darn good. So, of course, they had to shut down part of the highway. At least they
Right.
have the lane still open. But there are those like, well, thank God it wasn't on my show site. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Yeah. You're like, whew. Didn't tear up the new
Yeah.
buildings. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sorry it
Yep.
was them,
Yep.
but yeah.
I was like, ugh. And I don't
Yeah.
have to stick around to deal with it. So
We
see
so
ya.
when I was on a harvest crew, we
Yeah.
were going to South Dakota, and we hit a couple places where we're like, we're not gonna fit through there, and we're like all lined up looking, like four semis worth of combines and trailers and trucks, and we're half mile long, and I was like, what are we gonna do? And the boss like, no, don't worry about it, we got it. And they deflated all the tires, and to like where there's barely any air, and we're like, aren't they gonna? No, it'll work. Trust me,
Yeah.
done it before. And sure as crap, dudes, our foreman's laying on top of the combine, literally like this, going,
Right?
yep, 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 and then he's scooting back, cause
Yep.
yep, all right, and he drops down behind the cab and go, and it's like, holy crap.
I know it.
Yeah,
I know it.
but
People just don't understand. It's a hard world.
it's crazy.
It's not built for our stuff, but we make it navigate.
Well, it is. You go up the on ramp and go up one
Yeah.
ramp down the other to get under the overpass. I've seen
Yeah.
that before with
Yeah.
some construction equipment.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when we built all of our infrastructure, it wasn't built with the
No.
in mind of
Large equipment in
large
mind.
equipment in mind. Kind of going to Eastern Europe, a lot of their roads were built for a certain tonnage of vehicle.
Yeah.
And one of my previous jobs was a op 4 opposing force. And so we did in the simulation, had to plan, how the Americans going to attack us. Well, one of the advantages we had as op 4 was the roads were only built for 60-ton tanks, because that's when they were built, that was the maximum tonnage of the vehicle. And now today you're talking 70, 75-ton vehicles,
Mhm.
and the roads don't support them. So, it became, but if you think back to when the interstates were all built, you didn't have big trucks and big cars and big equipment. So, yeah. Well, Jami, thank you very much for the second interview.
Yes.
And
Anytime.
I will let you know what day we're going to hit the show. I'm
Okay.
thinking probably Friday the 20th. maybe. I want to hit it
Okay.
mid. I'd like to hit it mid-show. Then the first day of, everybody's got their stuff
Yep.
together, and the first rush is over with,
Sure.
and then they're
Well, come
focused
on in.
on the show.
Um,
So yeah. So
you're more than welcome. And I know it sounds like you made a lot of great friendships and connections last year. So I'm sure a lot of
I
them will
did. I wrote
recognize
them.
you.
I wrote
And
them all down in my book.
okay.
So the MacDon folks, I'm really looking forward to seeing them again.
Yep. Yep.
Ag Spray, we mentioned them.
Yep.
Horizon Equipment.
Hmm.
Tom Rain, Tillage, Kelly Tillage was who I was talking about.
Okay.
I think they were with Hood and Company.
Okay. Yep. Good
Uh,
companies there.
yeah, so let's see who else I got here. Meyer Manufacturing,
Yes.
Can Equip, Skyview Equipment, just to name a few. I could go on for a little while, um, but I'm looking forward to seeing some of those folks again.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
Well, once again, thank you very much, and everybody. Jami
Welcome.
Applegate, Western Farm Show organizer and manager, and puts a lot of hard work into the show. So you need to come to the show to see what she's accomplished. 64th annual farm show, February 19th to 21st. Just a little over a month away.
Yep.
So, Jami, thank you. We look forward to seeing
Thank
you at the
you.
show. And, well, good luck on this next month of putting out fires and get ready
Yes.
for the show.
I'll be there.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.